Do you remember what your childhood was like? Mine looks like this. This is the story of when I discovered I was adopted. From birth, I grew up in what I thought was my biological family. Throughout my childhood, I noticed that I was visibly different from my parents. During primary school, my friends would often tease me, asking if I was adopted because of my skin color. I would sometimes wonder if it was true, but it remained just a lingering thought at the back of my mind, never confirmed. When I was 19, I was juggling a lot of commitments, including school and church activities. I often stayed up late to finish assignments. One night, while my parents were away, I got into a heated argument with a family member. I felt accused and misunderstood, which led to a panic attack. My relationship with my family was already strained, and the argument only intensified my anger and bitterness. I remember punching the walls of my room and pushing my family members aside in my frustration when the argument happened. After the argument, I packed my bags and left home, leaving a note on the table saying I was leaving and not coming back anymore. In the meantime, I stayed with a church that offered me a place. During this period, I felt conflicted and questioned my own identity. I felt like a hypocrite because at church I was leading a group of youth, teaching them about godly values, but at home I was struggling with my own family, finding it hard to see them with love and patience. One time I remembered praying to God and a vision came to me. In the vision, there was a baby left on the streets, and I felt certain that the baby was me. However, I didn't fully understand the meaning of that vision. When my parents discovered I wasn't coming home, my mom called me. We argued about my decision to leave home, which eventually led me to ask them if I was adopted. I was shocked when my mom, with reluctance, confirmed that I was indeed adopted. This confirmation was both startling and relieving, as it addressed the thoughts that had lingered in my mind through all this while. Back then, babies were often left on the streets, and I was one of them who ended up in an adoption center, just like in the vision I had. They admitted that they had been afraid to tell me about my origin because they feared I might not see them as my parents anymore. As I listened, I felt a mix of emotions. Despite the tears, I was amazed by how God had impressed on their hearts to adopt me and orchestrated the circumstances that brought us together as a family. After the call, I wept for hours on my bed. It was a different kind of feeling, not because I felt a sense of abandonment from my biological parents, but I felt immense gratitude at the fact that God went through all of these to find me. Through it all, I felt the Lord saying, "JARYL, don't ever say your life is without purpose. Look at what I have done to bring you to Singapore. I set your feet on higher ground, and now you know me." In the end, I came back home to my parents' arms. This was only possible with love and forgiveness. I assured my parents that I was okay with the news and captivated by the love that they have given me. I know life would be so different if not for God, as I would be in a completely different place, living a completely different life. This is how I found out I was adopted. Yet, none of this changes who I am in God, who calls me His own.